Hey everyone, Joe here. Well, today I thought I'd talk about some new printers that just been released, and well, they're new to the US. They've been out in Southeast Asia for quite a while now, and that's the new Pixma, yeah, correctly, Canon Mega Inkjet printers. Now, like I said, these have been out in Southeast Asia because this is normally what's really sold here. Nobody really wants to buy printers, at least not professional printers or budget printers like these are for your home and stuff that use ink cartridge because it's just expensive for the average person. Now, Canon has announced the Pixma G1200, G2200, G3200, and G4400 printers. Now, they start out from, say, the 1200 here. Canon's listing for $249, which is probably going on cheaper, all the way up to $399 for the top end model. Now, these are all multifunction printers. And I know you're probably thinking, oh, it's kind of expensive. I can go buy a Pixma at Walmart for $60. True. But if you take into account every time you go to buy ink for that $60 printer, it's $50. Normally $20 for the black and $30 for the colors. And, well, for example, Canon is saying you should be able to print so much with these mega ink tank printers, and these got larger ink tanks than the average one. You could print up to replace the ink cartridge 30 times on your average printer. I'm not sure about 30 times, but probably a good 15 to 20 definitely for sure if you print heavy. But by the time you went and bought 5 sets of inks for that little $60 printer, you didn't actually paid for one of these printers. And what's really good is the inks for these are really cheap. For example, here's some that are listed on Amazon. Now you can look at Amazon's prices. These are about 70 milliliter. The tanks look larger in the Pixmas than these actually inks are. But look, $14.99. That's about around $15 is the average price to refill the ink. And you're talking, you could print 1,000 sheets of paper before you even got to think about looking at the ink tanks here. I think I actually check mine probably once every 6 months and refill mine probably once a year. And I don't have one as nice as these. I got a regular Epson. So anyway, let's kind of go over the specifications on a few of these. I don't really know what the huge difference is other than just appearance on a few of these for the most part, maybe a few minor features. The Pixma G1200 starts around $249. They're all multifunction. They all have print resolution of 4800 by 1200. I know the G4200, the top end one, does have an automatic document feeder. That's about the only really huge thing, and also an LCD. But pretty much all of these are the same. The 3200 and the 4200 have wireless ability to print wirelessly to them, whereas the 1200 and 2200 are only high-speed USB. Now, all the scanners in these are the same, or 600 by 1200 DPI optical, or 19,200 by 19,200 interpolated. That's a word I don't pronounce once every 2 or 3 years. And pretty much with the 3200 and 4200, you get some more bloatware software. So you may or may not want. But let's take a look at it. Now, if you're not familiar with ink tank printers, it's essentially that. Like this image shows right here, somebody squirting ink into a tank. That's all you got to do to refill the ink. That also means you don't have to buy the Canon ink. So if the Canon inks end up being $50, you may want to go the Canon ink route if you're printing on Canon photo paper for the small, minor photos, stuff with this printer. I'll say it's not a professional photo printer, but you could probably print a few for the home, whatever, and you might get better results using the Canon ink. But if you're just using this for a document printer, printing stuff off the web, blah, 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 kids' homework, you can go buy the cheap inks. Like I said, they're only $15. Now, these inks Canon's got look pretty large. That probably looks more like a 140 milliliter. So it might, to fill this thing up bone dry from like these other inks right here, it may take 2 sets of the inks. But hey, come on, man. How much can you actually print from these? A lot. So, like I said, by the time you go buy inks for that $60 Pixma you bought at Walmart, 5 times you could have bought one of these printers. And like I said, the inks alone are just $15 on average. So you can easily print a lot. You really can't go wrong. So I think Epson's actually already been selling these in the US and Canon hasn't. Although Canon has been selling these in Southeast Asia, probably under slightly different model numbers, for a very long time. Matter of fact, Canon's even got some out there are not multifunction, just regular straight printers. Because these are about the norm here. But anyway, I thought I'd kind of announce these, talk about them. I'll put a link to these on Canon, because I don't think they're actually even listed on Amazon yet. I'll keep looking, but they haven't come up yet. If they do, I'll put a link there. But till then, I'll just put a link to Canon USA's website in case anybody's interested. Because like I said, I recommend you get these. Save your money, because ink's just ridiculous for a lot of those printers. And get these, because this is the best budget way to go. Since I started using these type of printers, I have been much happier. I spent a lot on paper and very little on ink. And compared to like I used to in the US, where I spent very little on paper and a lot on ink. But anyway, that's it for this video. We're going to see y'all in the next one.